Here is your first warned weather forecast first.
And a very good Tuesday night to everybody. Low weather is in place for this evening under mostly clear skies, but hopefully you didn't get used to those warmer temperatures that we saw earlier today. Highs topping out above the freezing mark for the first time in a while, and at the moment temperatures still not doing too bad. 27 in Rockford, 25 in Freeport. Wind chills, albeit well into the teens in many spots, but when our next cold front swings through later this evening, we really start to see those temperatures fall. 4 for your overnight low. Skies do become cloudy for the afternoon. That'll keep highs stuck in the upper teens. All this ahead of our next chance for snow tomorrow night. More on that and how long our next cold blast sticks around in your full forecast coming up. Your news at 10 starts now.
Now on Eyewitness News.
Fueling an epidemic, heroin claiming the lives of 2 young people in Dixon, why investigators say Rockford might be to blame.
Plus, daring rescue of Freeport family's home goes up in flames, all while the pet dog was trapped inside. How firefighters were able to save him before it was too late.
And nasty aftermath, the state line woman gets evicted, leaving a huge mess behind. Why the numbers show cases like this one are happening more often.
2 stations. More local news. Eyewitness News, local at 9, starts now.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Nick Toma.
And I'm Christy Nix, in for Mimi Murphy tonight.
2 people die within just days of each other in Dixon due to what investigators are calling a bad batch of heroin.
And tonight, they're pointing the finger back at Rockford for what's becoming a growing heroin problem in their small town. Eyewitness News reporter Alexis McAdams joins us with more.
Nick, Christie, the drive on Route 2 from Rockford to Dixon may seem peaceful and quiet, but police say it could be the road that dozens of people use to bring heroin into Lee County. Heroin overdoses are on the rise in Lee County.
It's so cheap, it's easy to get.
And it's deadly. 2 people have died since Saturday from heroin overdose in Dixon. Police found 25-year-old Kelsey Jane Beck unresponsive and not breathing inside of this home. Officers say her boyfriend, Wesley Frey Jr., and mom, Karen Brunig, were home at the time of the overdose. Both have been charged with obstructing justice.
They were trying to hide and conceal the evidence from the overdose.
Officers say Frey was also using heroin at the time of Kelsey's death. Then, just hours later, a 33-year-old Dixon man overdosed on heroin. First responders used Narcan, but he later died at KSB Hospital.
Most of the time, the paramedics are able to save him using the Narcan, but unfortunately, there have been some incidents recently where it's just been too late.
Dixon police officers say a bad and clearly lethal batch of heroin is out in the community right now.
The way that it's mixed and what it's laced with at times can be very problematic, and so what we're hearing is there's as many as 10 heroin overdose deaths in Rockford, and now we've had 2 here locally.
It's only 43 miles to get from Dixon to Rockford, and police say dozens travel into Rockford to pick up heroin and bring it back into Lee County.
People in these close-knit groups that are all using the drug, and 1 or 2 people have a connection, and they'll go to Rockford and they'll purchase and they'll come back and then they'll kind of distribute it that way.
Although law enforcement officers cannot stop everyone from using the highly addictive drug, police are doing whatever they can to notify the public.
Facebook and our Twitter accounts, we need to get things out on that right away now that we've kind of got a grasp on it, and we're hitting several thousand people a post.
But law enforcement in Lee County say their main goal is to save lives.
Regardless of what our feelings are about if you use drugs or don't use drugs, the last thing we want to see is, a senseless waste of life.
When a person sells or delivers drugs that cause a person's death, a charge of drug-induced homicide can be filed. That's a Class X felony and could result in 30 years behind bars. Nick?
It's frightening and an interesting story, too. All right, Alexis, thank you. Rockford police arrest a man that they say held heroin in a house with young kids inside. Police arresting 30-year-old Daryl Lyles this morning in the 800 block of Sawyer Road. That's where officers say they found over a dozen bags of heroin, guns, and money. A child and a baby were also inside that house, and now Lyles is facing charges, including possession with intent to deliver heroin.
The man accused of shooting his co-worker after a heated fight pleads guilty to second-degree murder. 32-year-old Michael Medeiros was arrested last summer, just moments after the deadly shooting. It happened at an apartment building in the 4800 block of Javelin Drive in July of 2014. Police say Medeiros and Ramon Bowen got into an argument. The fight escalated and Medeiros shot and killed the 27-year-old. Medeiros faces a maximum of 40 years in prison when he's sentenced in April.
Loves Park police searching for the woman accused of attacking a motel housekeeper while nude. And they released these surveillance pictures today of the woman they believe was behind the incident. It happened at the Clayton House Motel. That's on 2nd Street last Thursday. Police say the woman allegedly tried to choke a housekeeper who thought the room was vacant. Anyone with information on the identity of this woman is asked to contact Loves Park police.
A Freeport family is praising the fire department tonight after quick thinking saved their dog's life.
This after their home went up in flames, leaving it a total loss. Eyewitness News reporter Philip Reed explains how firefighters stepped in to save the family pet from a fiery fate. Phil?
Well, Nick and Christy, firefighters, when they arrived, the family had already made it out safe, but the dog was still trapped inside. The animal lovers at the Freeport Fire Department tell me every life matters, human or pet. G-Man struggles to breathe and foams at the mouth from smoke inhalation after being trapped inside this Freeport home Monday afternoon as it went up in flames. Ulcers forming on the 1-year-old pit bull's corneas from the heat of the blaze. Owner of the South Chippewa Avenue home, Kim Williamson, says she tried saving G-Man after getting her grandkids to safety, but the flames were too high.
Oh, I was real worried. I think I almost had a heart attack. Because that's my puppy. He's spoiled. He's a mama's puppy, and it's always been me and him.
Freeport firefighters came to the rescue of Williamson's furry friend, going to the top floor of the burnt building to save him.
We heard a whimper from a room, so we went in there, and the dog was looking up at us. Just looked like he wanted to be rescued.
After carrying the puppy to safety, they put this pet oxygen mask on his muzzle, bringing oxygen to his smoke-damaged lungs.
He started slowly coming around, then we were able to pick him up again and carried him over to one of the ambulances and got him into a warm ambulance, got him dried off, got him warmed up a little bit.
We'll be back shortly.
G-Man is receiving treatment at the Freeport Animal Hospital. Williamson says she's forever grateful to the firefighters that saved her best friend.
I got much love for them, for real. I really do. I have a lot of love for them, for saving my dog, because he could have died the way that house was blazing.
Every life matters, whether it's a human being or a four-legged animal.
Now, doctors expect G-Man to make a full recovery. The Williamson family is looking for donations for the dog's medical bills. You can help by contacting the Red Cross. Their number is on our website, mystateline.com.
Such a cute animal, and you know, the family's they're gonna hug that dog every day. And it's a good thing that those firefighters were willing to take that extra step.
Stepped in like that.
And the doctors told me that the dog is starting to eat now, so he's making some progress.
Good. All right. Thanks, Phil. A Rockford property manager is busy cleaning up after an evicted tenant leaves a huge mess. This is the aftermath at an apartment in the 1100 block of Revel Avenue in Rockford. Clogged drains, broken spouts, causing water to flood for hours, completely flooding the apartment and the one below her. And her landlord says this happens more often than you'd think.
This happens on the regular basis, at least once or twice every 3 months. I mean, it's about 10% of our tenants choose to leave their property in disarray.
And the numbers suggest evictions in Winnebago County are only getting worse. There were over 600 last year compared to only 530 5 years ago.
Rockford police receiving high honors for their hard work in a special ceremony today. Various awards like letters of commendation given out today to select officers at Rockford University's Burpee Center. 3 sergeants were also promoted to lieutenant, with Carla Red becoming the first black female lieutenant in Rockford history. And while the officers are thankful for the promotions, they're just ready to get to work.
I'm looking forward to being out in the community and actually working with the guys hand in hand, trying to resolve the situations that are going on.
The ceremony also honored the detectives who worked overtime to arrest the suspected killer of 4 people, including 2 kids, last December.
Transform Rockford holding its first part of a series that aims to make drastic improvements to the community. The group meeting tonight in what they're calling community conversations. Tonight's discussion focusing on vibrant neighborhoods and planning for the future. Transform Rockford leaders say they'll hold more of these forums to make Rockford a top 25 community.
State line students getting a behind-the-scenes look today at the manufacturing industry. From mechanical arms to Lego robots, Rock Valley College showing off the different programs they offer in the manufacturing field. Local high school robotics teams also putting their robots on display. It's all part of National Engineering Week, trying to encourage students to think about a career in manufacturing.
Coming up next on Eyewitness News at 10.
Costly payback. Many college students relying on financial aid to pay for their education. How one state lawmaker's idea could cost you big time if you get an out-of-state job.
Plus, holding out hope. We hear from Rockford's Mass Transit District President for the first time following our investigation of the bus station to nowhere. Why he's still optimistic about the project.
And a bit later on, Brandon's got the complete first warn weather forecast. You're watching Eyewitness News Local at 10 on WTVO Channel 17. One state senator has his eye on reforming a hugely popular financial aid program.
He's worried too many students are receiving financial state aid and then leaving for jobs out of state. Eyewitness News reporter Matt Porter is keeping you connected to the Capitol tonight.
They shouldn't tell me where I can work and cannot work. So I feel like I should be able to do whatever, go wherever state I want to with my degree because I earned it.
Donna Gordon came from the south side of Chicago to study communications. She's not happy to hear her MAP grant could become a loan if she took an out-of-state job.
To me, it's a conning people into like getting the money, and then later on tell them, oh, you got to pay it back.
But State Senator Chapin Rose wants to do just that. His bill would turn MAP grants into loans for students who leave Illinois within 5 years of graduating.
Then they move out of state. They start paying taxes in Massachusetts or California or Indiana or wherever, but we, the state taxpayers, made that investment in that kid.
The plan would also take grants away from failing students and bar for-profit colleges from receiving state aid.
In many cases, these for-profit schools are I mean, it's almost laughing to call them a school. I mean, what you get at the end of the day is a piece of paper that's not worth the paper it's printed on.
With only half of qualified applicants receiving money from MAP, Rose says it's important to spend grants wisely.
We simply must do more with less. That's the bottom line.
Governor Bruce Rauner's budget preserved current funding levels for MAP grants.
Rockford's Mass Transit District President speaking out now for the first time since our special report on the bus station to nowhere. The executive director of RMTD won't call the bus station on Lyford Road a mistake, but rather a miscalculation. Our investigation uncovered the station costs about $12,000 a month to operate, but it's only used scarcely throughout the day. However, RMTD isn't throwing in the towel yet.
I'm still hoping that the economy will recover and we'll be able to move forward with everything that we had planned.
McVinney says he is still trying to get the Van Galder Bus Company to use that bus station. Frigid cold temperatures are expected to hit the state line.
But how long are they going to stick around? That's the big question when we return from break. Meteorologist Brandon Arnold will have your complete first warn weather forecast.
And later on, how transforming this office is also changing the people who work there.
Well, the cold going to be back in a big way tonight and sticking around the rest of the week. But for tonight, at least, we are looking quiet. Here's a look outside. Our first warn sky track that is brought to you by Anderson Automotive Group. Nice little warm up today. May not have felt like it with the wind, but still getting up to around 33. Now, on a normal February day, we'd be about 5 degrees below average. But today, this is a nice little warm up. In fact, the last time we hit the freezing mark, you have to go back about 2 weeks, February 11th, when we topped out at 34. Here's our setup as we head into the overnight. Nice clear skies in place. That's going to combine with our next cold front, and that's really going to lead to that big drop in temperatures as we head through the overnight. And you can see that cold shaping up. Here's a look at temperatures. 25 in Rockford, 23 in Madison, but then those whites and pinks you're seeing, those are single digits and even some negatives. So a very quick drop off with temperatures. Things right now, though, not too bad. They are going to get worse as we go through the overnight, but 25 in Freeport, 24 in Rochelle, sitting at 21 right now in Janesville. Winds still a little bit on the breezy side. Those will continue to calm overnight, but as you can see, feel like temperatures in many spots, we're talking low teens. Feels like 12 Freeport and Rockford, Only feels like 9, though, in DeKalb. We'll get down to around 4 overnight under those clear skies, but a low weather risk because we do stay dry. Technically a moderate weather risk for tomorrow, but snow chance is going to hold off until the evening. Ahead of that, skies going to become cloudy again in a hurry. That's going to keep us on the cooler side, 17 for that afternoon high. But let's talk a little bit more about that snow on Futurecast. There are those clear skies for tonight. Not a lot to worry about as we head into tomorrow morning, but that is when we start to see those clouds start to build in. Now you're noticing our next low pressure system going to stay off to our south. So the worst of the snow, we're talking Iowa down into central Illinois. We're just going to kind of get clipped by this system here. So we're not talking a major snow event by early Thursday morning. About an inch or so going to be possible areas like Rockford, especially to our north, and then a little closer to the Mississippi, maybe up to 2 inches in a couple of spots. But overall, not going to be a major event. For tonight and the rest of your 7-day, we go from 17 tomorrow to 11 on your Thursdays. You can see that chill in the air going to be sticking around through the rest of the work week. 22 with some sunshine on Saturday, so we'll start to warm things up there. Moderate weather risk on Sunday with our next round of snow. Sunday also the start of March, and we'll still be below average, but upper 20s around 30 through the beginning of next week. That's a much better start to March than the end of February.
Yeah. Looking forward to those temperatures. Yeah. Thanks, Brandon. Coming up, scary sight.
I'll tell you what caused this big mess on a Boston highway.
Nick has tonight's Hot Shots.
It's something you usually see in like a kid's playroom, you know, right? Or, you know, but this is a British design company. Look what they did in their office. Wow. They installed a ball pit there. There's 81,000 white balls, and people are trying to do their office work. Look, they're just...
Look how fun that... Oh, my gosh, kind of we need one of those here.
I don't know. Like, what happens now? Where's the computer? Like, where do you print stuff out?
It's fine. They'll find a way. Look how much fun that is.
Office workers say they come away more refreshed and energized to be creative.
Because you get to be a kid. Who wouldn't want to do that?
How are you going to clean that up? All right, watch up now. A pickup truck flies off a Boston highway. Look at it right there.
Ooh.
It crashed through a light pole, a chain link fence, and then it broke the barrier of the elevated highway, and it lands on the bottom level. It's kind of scary. And the driver says he fell asleep. Next thing you know, he wakes up and the paramedics were pulling him out. But he was charged with drunk driving, so there was something behind that crash.
I wondered how he was sleeping like that.
Yep.
All right, Scott's in now with sports.
Someone let the air out of the Bulls balloon a little bit tonight, huh?
Yeah, the last thing they wanted to hear this season was more knee issues for Derrick Rose, but that's the reality of what they're dealing with. The latest word on Rose is next. And how is Antti Raanta handling being sent down to the Ice Hogs? We'll catch up with him. Derrick Rose is headed for knee surgery again. He complained of pain in his right knee today, and an exam revealed he has a torn meniscus. The Bulls won't know how long he'll be out of action until sometime after the surgery. The Blackhawks still aren't sure exactly what they have in goaltender Antti Raanta. In Chicago, he's been stuck behind Corey Crawford, not getting a lot of playing time. That'll change now that he's here with the Ice Hogs. Raanta was sent down Monday. Few players take the news of an assignment to the minors well, but Raanta handles it like he handles everything else, with a smile.
It's fun to be back here, fun to see the guys again, and I'm excited. Everybody has been here great for me, so why should I have to be like upset about something?
He has a great attitude, a smile on his face all the time. I know when he was here for the game early in the season, had a real good time.
That was back in mid-November. Raanta and the Hogs won that game over Texas. For the Blackhawks, Raanta has played in 14 games, going 7-4-1 with 1 shutout. That's a total of only 15 games that he's played in this season. He needs more game time.
What did the Blackhawks tell you when they sent you down here? What was their reasoning, their thinking behind it?
It was just after the game. They said that we think that it's best for you and best for everybody that you go there and play some games, and we can't complain about that. I think everybody wants to play. Nobody wants to sit on the bench 60 games.
Did the Blackhawks give you any indication how long you might be here?
No. We just talked that let's go one day at a time, and we'll see about that.
Dent says he hasn't discussed yet with the Blackhawks how much Raanta should play here, but Dent doesn't want to let Michael Leighton sit idle either.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you, but yeah, I mean, while he's here, obviously he's got to play some games and have some fun again. And, he hasn't played a lot of hockey recently, so it should be good.
Meanwhile, in Chicago, Scott Darling getting the starting goal for the Blackhawks tonight against the Panthers. This one goes to a shootout. Darling here. Darling wins that matchup. Great effort there. And now he's got to do the same to Nick Bugstad. And he does. Darling spreading out, coming through, delivering the victory for the Blackhawks as they snap a 3-game losing skid. They beat the Panthers 3-2. Darling the win. The Ice Hogs annual jersey auction for charity is a real puzzler. The theme is a puzzle. This is a logo and look at the sweater that the Hogs will wear March 22nd when the Texas Stars are in town. Hammy's image surrounded by pieces of a puzzle. And that ties in with the auction, teaming up with the autism program of Chicago Rockford. Part of the proceeds from the jersey auction after the game will go toward that program. Dakota's wrestling team will be headed back to state this Saturday. The Indians romped over Harvard tonight in the dual team sectional in polo, 47-15.
So getting back to Derrick Rose, I mean, how does this affect them moving forward now? I mean, they're missing a big key.
Well, the thing is, it's a meniscus, not a ligament, so that's not as bad as a torn ligament.
Okay,
so he could be back at some point this year, but it's, you know, you can't think he's going to be close to 100% this year. No. That's going to kill him. It's
frustrating.
I mean, they're still going to be one of the better teams in the East, but I don't see them getting by Cleveland or, you know, getting to the NBA championship without him. So.
All right. Thanks, Scott. We'll be right back. All right, a final check of our forecast. A few more really cold days, and then maybe a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, anything better than the teens is going to feel pretty good, and that's hopefully where we'll be by this weekend. Earlier today, we were watching a little bit of snow on interactive radar brought to you by Buffalo Contracting, but tonight, looking at clear skies. That, with a passing cold front, will cause temperatures to plunge well into the single digits by morning. Our next chance for snow coming Wednesday evening, although minor accumulations there. Most areas probably an inch or so possible. The cold sticks around through the rest of the work week, and then, yeah, 22 on Saturday. That'll feel okay. 29 on Sunday. That'll feel